Greetings again, everybody. Welcome back to Dark Souls. Right off the bat, you might notice a small problem with our attire. Yep, our headgear is pretty freaking huge. So let's slip into something a little more comfortable that does not block our view. The good old sack. Now, before we head into the pod we're gonna explore this time, I will want to show you something new up here. You may remember this part from the very beginning of the game. But well, we made a new friend, or rather, we made a friend a while ago, and he just now moved here. Or rather, he will move here as soon as you acquire the Lordvessel. I'm guessing that you probably forgot about him by now. But here he is. Good old Domno.
Aye, Shemai. I didn't expect to meet anybody here. I suppose great minds think alike, eh? I'm afraid I don't see anything here.
This time around he sells us a bunch of new things. Firstly, the Master Key. We can't really use it anymore on this playthrough. It would be useful in New Game Plus though. He also sells us a bunch of boss's armor sets, which is nice. So if you ever see me running around in an armor a boss was wearing, this is how I got it. Now there's another thing right down here I will want to show you, because there's an item to get. A rather good one. So we need to kill Shiva's ninja friend, sadly. Okay, before I die, I'll just pick this up.
You sick hoe. Don't you ever go back.
Of course I can't just have him kill me. No, no, no.
Turning on us from the very start. Have a look at my sword. It's the last thing you'll see. You poor fool. You were able to run far.
I kind of like the confidence in his final words.
Oh, it is thee. Thine kinsmen are betrayed by thee. This doth bode most badly. No rest will ease thy rotten soul whilst there is one clansman living. Forever tormented thou shalt be by our very howls. Hellish villain, thou hast used us most foully, thine own family. For thee, no mercy shall be shown.
Oh boy, those forest hunters sure know how to talk big. But sadly, we won't be hearing of them ever again. They won't pursue us, nothing of the likes. But anyway now, we are in New Londo ruins, and this time around we're actually going to head into them. And it is, well, it's the first area of the game we're gonna explore that qualifies as an endgame area. And like all of the endgame areas, this one has a gimmick. We'll be seeing that shortly. We picked up some transient curses of that corpse and we already have them equipped. And we will actually have to use them. Now, why, you may ask? I'll be happy to show you. Just give it a second. Whoa there, what's this? A ghost? Surely I can hit it with my sword. Well, no, I can't. That makes sense, I guess. So to attack ghosts, we actually need to be cursed. Now, obviously, I don't want to actually get cursed, although that would be an option. So, curse is a nasty status effect, I don't want it, so what am I gonna do about it? This is where transient curses come in. As you already saw, they just work fine. Killed a bunch of ghosts with them. Transient curses pretty much curse us without all the negative effect curse usually would have. So we can just walk around and do stuff without being unable to use humanity or being at half health. This is kind of a bad spot, by the way. Anyway though, transient curses only work temporarily, so we will have to reuse them every once in a while. There is no icon under our stamina bar to indicate that we have a transient curse active, but we have a slightly whitish glow coming from us, which is our only indication that we are indeed cursed by a transient curse. So how is anyone gonna find that out on their own, you might ask now? Well...
The cursed ghosts of New Londo are formidable foes. To face them, you will require special arms or a cursed body. The quickest way to be cursed? Try the bug-eyed lizards in the sewer. Desperate measures, to be sure.
Yeah, he only gives you that hint if you buy something from him. And he also mentioned that you can use special weapons to harm ghosts. Now you need cursed weapons for that. And one of those I introduced you to in the last video is the cursed greatsword of Artorias. There are some other cursed weapons as well. Two of which can be found in this very area here and are dropped by, well, enemies here. One of them by these ghosts, and another particularly rare one by, well, another kind of ghost later on in this area, but there's only two of those enemies in the entire game, so it is really rare. And you might notice that I pursue a strategy of just running into them head on. Normally I would do this with a little bit of a heavier set of armor, just so I can take a hit while also attacking. But so far, it's worked out. Yeah, those ghosts have no clip active at all times, and it's really damn annoying. Because there will be times when you are being followed by ghosts and you can't even see or hear them, because they're in the walls. Sometimes they also come straight up from the ground, but they usually do a little animation before they do anything. And this here is what I call a Banshee. This enemy is only in the game 2 times, and if you put 2 and 2 together, you will know that this is the enemy that drops one of the cursed weapons, the one that's really damn rare. Right up there on this roof, there is a ghost. And we can actually shoot him with our arrows from here. Now, if you sufficiently upgraded your bow or ranged weapon of choice, you can take him out quickly, like this. But if you haven't, it might take a while, and it's usually not worth it, because he only attacks if you try to get that item over there. And it's just a soul pickup, so it's not worth it. And to the left there, pay attention, you can drop down there from the other side. But to actually make that any useful, you will have to kick down this ladder. Really unintuitive shortcut, and I never used it ever. You could also kill those ghosts that are below us, attacking us right now, but I tend to just run past them usually. Now, for a very long time, this part coming right up here was pretty much the hardest part of New Londo Ruins for me, because I tried to just lure out all of those ghosts here, one by one, and fight them out on the stairs. And basically I tried to be super careful, which is what the game teaches you to do. But I found it to be far easier and faster to actually do this here. Just, well, charge in head first and draw all their attention towards you so you can kill them more quickly. A weapon that actually manages to hit more of them at the same time will work out okay. You see here that I'm kind of having a hard time too, because I don't have any poise on my armor. Normally I would recommend using heavy armor, the wolf ring, or maybe both. And yeah, the ghosts have a grab, this is it. Hope you like that. But yeah, with poise, this is really easy. Without poise, this will probably happen to you, so use heavy armor or the wolf ring, or both. So, how about some heavy armor? We now switch from the Xanthus set, which has 0 poise and is really light armor, to the Steel set, which is actually pretty heavy, but also has a lot of poise. So now we won't get interrupted as much anymore when we have to deal with such enemies, and this is actually a prime example of how useful poise can be. Because you see, we can kill them even if they get in a hit on us. With the Santa set I would have to dodge and carefully choose a time to attack, and if it didn't choose right I would get interrupted by their attacks and it would do nothing at all. But hey, it seems like we took care of those rather easily this time around. So while we climb up this ladder here, I will want to draw attention to the fact that we can get attacked while climbing, and we will. This is a cheap shot on part of the game. Oh, and over there, look, a silhouette. Let's approach it and then talk to it.
Well, this is a surprise. I get few visitors, save for ghosts. You have the Lordvessel. Very impressive. I know exactly what your intentions are. You seek the 4 kings whom I guard over. This is the key to the seal. The 4 kings slumber in the deepest chamber of the ruins. Use this key to break the seal and open the floodgates. Oh, and do not forget, the dark wraiths reside in a dark void called the Abyss. But the Abyss is no place for ordinary mortals. Although, long ago, the knight Artorius traversed the Abyss. If you can find him and learn from him, the Abyss may prove surmountable. Hello there. What is it? The key to the seal is now in your hands. I will help you in any way possible. New Londo was sacrificed to contain the Dark Wraiths. Mark my words, the Dark Wraiths are the enemies of man and any living thing that has a soul. They were never meant to roam again.
So Ingward here sells us few things, in fact only transient curses and the sorcery Resist Curse. Resist Curse is pretty useless, by the way. It removes curse buildup. So another thing you can do to reduce curse buildup is to wait for a couple seconds. Anyway, Ingward here gave us the key to the seal. It is needed to get to the second half of New Londo Ruins. And he will only give the key to us if we have the Lordvessel with us, or if we kill him. So technically you could come here first thing in the game, kill him, get the key, and fight an endgame boss as early as your second proper boss fight. So have fun with that. But anyway, it seems that my transient curse has worn off. You can tell because I can use it again now and because my glow is gone. So look out for that. See, now the item is grayed out again. So yeah, we are now able to kill ghosts with a weapon again, and that's great. The weapon, by the way, is the Man-Serpent Greatsword. It is dropped by the Man-Serpent's Incense Fortress, and it is considered one of the most useful greatswords of the game because its moveset is fairly versatile. It has sideways swings as its regular attack and an overhead swing as its heavy attack. That is the one-handed moveset. The two-handed is a little bit different. It has a little jump attack as its heavy attack, and it's not that useful. But what you will use greatswords for anyway when two-handing them is the light attack, because it allows to attack in quick succession and deal great damage. I did say that the Man-Serpent Greatsword is one of the best greatswords of the game, but I kind of like the Claymore a little bit better. I'm probably the only one who thinks that way, but the reason I like it so much is it has a thrusting attack. Don't get me wrong, the overhead swing is nice, but thrusts are kind of better in my opinion at least. They require a little more precision perhaps, but they usually offer a better range. And a lot of the time they do really great damage as well. So you can drop down there but not back up to get that item over there. So let's do just that. To get back down though, we will have to jump through one of those windows back inside the room we've already been to. And hey, another ring of sacrifice, rare ring of sacrifice even, but we already have one of those. So the fact that we're down here is not necessarily a little setback, because honestly, I forgot to pick something up, a rather important item a lot of people would like to have at some point in the game. It's right outside here, and it is the Cursebite ring. This nice little item allows us to, well, resist curse. It's better than a spell resist curse because it actually ups our resistance of the status effect. It makes our curse builder meter really huge, and we're very unlikely to get cursed ever. Curse as a status effect isn't an issue in this area though, because you can't get cursed. You might wanna be cursed if you don't know that you can just use transient curses, or for some odd reasons are out of transient curses. But yeah, you cannot get cursed here. And the ghosts actually drop transient curses. So yeah, we just used Ingward's key, and after pushing that lever, we will be done with the first half of New Londo Ruins. So as we already know, the lore of New Londo is that it used to be a city for the undead, but then the sealers had to flood it to contain the dark wraiths. And now, since we unflooded it, we presumably will have to fight dark wraiths in the lower part of New Londo. But before we actually go there, we'll head up these stairs, because there's another item which is not necessary, but it might be nice to have, who knows. The composite bow. It is a really nice bow if you're not a dexterity based build, because it scales fairly well with strength as well. So you can get some decent damage out of it if you have good strength. So, heading down to a part of New Londo that hasn't seen the light of day in quite a while. And it's pretty grim looking. I mean, look at this. All those dead people. Presumably former inhabitants of the city. And there we can see the way to the Valley of the Drakes. We haven't properly visited yet. And right up ahead there is actually a dark wraith. They are pretty normal humanoid enemies actually. You can parry them if you wish. They seem really unimpressive at first, but they have a trick up their sleeve, and we just saw that trick actually. If they do this little glowy motion there, and if they manage to grab you, they will do a bit of damage and steal one of your humanities. Active humanities, that is. The Dark Wraiths will be our main enemy here in this lower part of the New Londo Ruins. If we didn't kill all of the ghosts already, at a few spots we would also have to deal with ghosts. But luckily we already took care of those, so they won't annoy us. A Dark Wraiths can drop one of two items, or one of three I should say actually. They can drop their shield, which, well, we can't see it right now, but it's that little, yeah, that's it. The little visual distortion in front of them, it is called the Dark Hand. It is also what allows them to do their glowy attack that steals humanity, and we could also use it if we equipped it as a shield. The other items that can drop are a Titanite chunks, which is really nice by itself, so if you ever need to farm them, go here. But they also have a very rare chance of dropping Titanite slabs. And Titanite slabs are what's needed to upgrade weapons to their max level, or rather lightning weapons and regular weapons. Dark Wraiths are weak to fire, by the way, and this is Fire Surge. It's not that useful of a spell and doesn't do that great damage unless something is inside it for a long time. But yeah, killed one guy, so it already did its job. But other fire spells, or rather I should say pyromancies, will do a much better job against those. Hey, look at this. We made a new friend. This is a mini-boss. There's a total of 2 of them down here, so they don't respawn. And they aren't too difficult. But hey, here's another prime example of how underwhelming Fire Surge is. So, their attacks consist mostly of spawning those skulls that explode, which we just saw, swinging that spear they can vomit up, and also sometimes stabbing us with it. And also doing that. And that means we move really slowly now. But none of those attacks are really a problem. And oh, by the way, yeah. That liquid also damages us. And we can't roll it off. For some reason I thought that might work. It doesn't. That big blobby guy appears to be an homage to Demon Souls. At least I think so. And to 2 bosses actually. One of them is the Phalanx. Because the Phalanx is in essence nothing but a giant blob that is shielded by those guys that we found in the painted world with the shields and the spears. Because, well, that blobby thing also uses a spear. And then it also references the Dirty Colossus with the liquid that slows us down and damages us. Because the Dirty Colossus has an attack that does the same thing to the player. Coming up here is strictly optional, by the way, but there is a very good reason to come here. Because up here, up those stairs, we can actually find the very large ember, which allows us to upgrade our weapons from plus 10 to plus 11, and from there further to plus 15 if we wish. And there it is. So back down, if you go through the other side, through the other gate here, we can find an elevator that leads us all the way back to the beginning of New Londo ruins. We can only use this elevator though after we open the floodgates. So, how about a little bit of more lore info as we slowly but steadily head towards the boss. If we go by the name, New Londo was built after Anno Londo. Now Anno Londo, as we know, is a city of the gods and giants, but after a while, well, the undead curse popped up. There's no solid indication of how long ago that was. The timeline of the game is kinda shifty like that. But anyway, they then proceeded to build New Londo as a city for the undead. At least that's what happened to my understanding. Anyway though, after that, everyone was happy, at least for a while. Then the Dark Wraiths showed up. And they came from the Abyss. And the Abyss is darkness. Darkness within the lore of this game symbolizes humanity, which is also the reason why humanity sprites are black. Now, interesting piece of speculation, which may or may not actually be speculation, is that the humanity items we can find throughout the games are actually fragments of the namesake of the game, the Dark Soul. At some point in the game, we will get a little more info on the origin of the Dark Soul, so I won't talk about that now, and concentrate on New Londo instead. So, the Dark Wraiths came, and they were apparently a big problem. So big in fact, that they decided to flood the entire city to contain them, not to kill them. We can still see that they're there. Anyway, fast forward a few centuries slash decades, or maybe even just a few years. As I said, the timeline of the game is not very clear. But anyway, this is what brings us here. Now we saw a few corpses, in fact very many corpses, a bit earlier. So this probably means that they didn't even bother to evacuate the city before flooding it. Now, why they did it, I'm not entirely sure. They probably had to do it in secret to not alarm the Dark Wraiths. So they decided to sacrifice an entire town just to get rid of one problem. So it most likely was one hell of a problem. Personally, I have no idea what the Dark Wraiths did to provoke such drastic measures. I'm not sure it's ever explained in the game, but if it is, then I missed it. But I sure would like to know. And that's about it with my knowledge about New Londo and the Dark Soul. At least the part that I'm comfortable sharing at this point. But anyway, the area is just about over as well. And we will fight a boss very soon. It's right through that fog gate, but first we'll want to go over there. Not to kill this Dark Wraith here, but he would surprise attack us if we didn't. What we're actually here for is, well, it's a summoning sign. I'm gonna spoil it right here. But we can't see it because we're not human. So let's slip into something more comfortable and turn human. And there it is. We can summon Beatrice for this fight as well. Last time we saw her was when we fought the Moonlight Butterfly, and she tore that thing apart. So let's see how she can do against this boss, which qualifies as an endgame boss. Beatrice is one of two characters that are known to have traversed the Abyss. The other one is Artorias, and from the looks of it, we are going to be the third one. And the boss fight doesn't start as soon as you go through the fog gate, but a little bit later. So, Ingward told us that to traverse the Abyss, we need to find Artorias and learn the art of Abyss walking. We didn't find Artorias, he is long dead, but we did find his grave and fought his friend Sif, and for defeating him we got the Covenant of Artorias, which will let us traverse the Abyss. And we will have to equip it. Otherwise, we'll die. You'll see what I mean. You see? That's the Abyss. You don't want to fall down there without the Covenant of Artorias equipped. So let's do just that. Our opponent this time shall be the Four Kings. Now you might say that that one guy doesn't look like Four Kings, and you're right, it's just one. But trust me, it's the Four Kings. The Four Kings is one of the most difficult boss fights in the game. Most people tend to just use one of the simplest strategies to kill him, which would be to use heavy armor and just tag all of his attacks to kill him. But hey, look at that, Beatrice took good care of that one. Now we will have to kill 3 more. Well, technically, there can be an infinite number of kings. It takes a set amount of time before the next one spawns, and there probably can be an infinite amount. It probably caps at some point. But anyway, the point is that there can be more than 4 kings on screen at the same time. So yeah, the key to the fight is to kill each king as quickly as possible before the next one can spawn. Because if there's 2 or even more kings attacking you at the same time, that's really bad news. They are weak to fire, which is why I brought Pyromancy. Oh no, and now we have 2 kings at the same time. That's not good. Now, later on in this fight, I had to deal with 3 kings at the same time, and I hate to spoil it for you, but I died. So well then, let's give this another try. As I already said, most people tend to just use heavy armor and maybe also iron flesh. Pretty much everyone also uses some kind of means to increase stamina regeneration, like green blossoms or the grass crest shield, or a certain mask that has the same effect. However, I'm using 0 poise armor, and they will have to live with that. It is definitely one of the hardest boss fights in the game if you try to do it like this. But I have to say that I think I'm doing quite well so far. The first one's already dead, although the second one has already appeared. Ideally, you would take out the first one before the second one even spawns. Right here I am using Iron Flesh, which boosts my poise to great heights. And jump attacking as I do it here is not really a good idea. I was just trying to see how well it does. When using a greatsword like I do here, I would just recommend using the two-handed light attack to do the most damage per second. Whenever they do this little magic shockwave attack, if you're really close to them, you won't be able to run away. So it's best to just stay close and get in as many hits as possible, or get up your shield and block. To win this fight, you will have to deplete the boss health bar at the bottom there, and not necessarily kill the last king. It might be possible to win the fight without killing any king if you just wait for a lot of them to spawn and attack them enough to not kill them, but still deplete the health bar of the boss completely. Since the 4 kings are weak to fire, I recommend bringing pyromancy or flame weapons, ideally both, because, well, a damage per second is really what matters in this fight. As I already pointed out, you have to kill 1 king before the other one spawns or you'll be in trouble. Right now, the 4th king has already spawned when I'm fighting the 3rd, but he's still a fair ways away. For some odd reason, he spawned really far away. So now, the final king is there, and I should be able to take him out with little trouble. Unless, of course, a 5th one spawns. The 4 kings here are probably supposed to be a harder version of the Man-Eater boss fight from Demon Souls. For those who don't know Demon Souls, the Man-Eater is a boss who at first appears to be alone, but then after a set amount of time a second one spawns. But the fight against the Man-Eater is much harder because the arena is really small and you can fall to your death. Here you practically have infinite amount of space to move. Of course, before I forget it, the gargoyles are also unlocked to the Man-Eaters. If this is your first time playing, the 4 kings will probably be one of the toughest fights you will encounter throughout the game. You could technically fight them very early in the game, but they are in fact the endgame boss. And that guy over there who kind of looks like Framd is not Framd, and he only appears down here if you haven't talked to Framd before. So that's why I didn't talk to him.
Greetings, undead warrior. I am the primordial serpent, Darkstalker Kaathe. I can guide thee and illuminate the truth. The truth I shall share without sentiment. After the advent of fire, the ancient lords found the 3 souls, but your progenitor found a 4th, unique soul, the Dark Soul. Your ancestor claimed the Dark Soul and waited for fire to subside, and soon the flames did fade, and only dark remained. Thus began the Age of Men, the Age of Dark. However, Lord Gwyn trembled at the dark, clinging to his Age of Fire and in dire fear of humans, and the Dark Lord who would one day be born amongst them. Lord Gwyn resisted the course of nature by sacrificing himself to link the fire and commanding his children to shepherd the humans. Gwyn has blurred your past to prevent the birth of the Dark Lord. I am the primordial serpent. I seek to right the wrongs of the past, to discover our true Lord. But the other serpent, Frampt, lost his sense and befriended Lord Gwyn. Undead warrior, we stand at a crossroads. Only I know the truth about your fate. You must destroy the fading Lord Gwyn, who has coddled fire and resisted nature, and become the fourth Lord, so that you may usher in an age of dark. Very well. I shall now guide you to Gwyn's prison. Be still, and trust thine flesh to me. This is Gwyn's prison. Now, place the Lordvessel upon the altar.
Those orange fog gates that just now disappeared all over the world were in fact areas we didn't have access to yet. I just didn't go there yet because there was no reason to. You might also ask yourself the question, how did we carry that thing around? And also, can we still walk between bonfires? The answers are, I don't know, and yes we can.
Very well. Once the vessel is filled with souls, the gate to Gwyn shall open. Seek Gravelord Nito, the Witch of Izalith, and the traitor, Seath the Scaleless. Fill this vessel with their souls. Then the gate will open, so that you may kill Gwyn. Are you ready? Then let us return to the Abyss, and trust thine flesh to me. If you wish, I shall grant the art of Life Drain, the legendary power of the Dark Lord. It can preserve your humanity while undead, and cast off the shackles placed upon your brethren. Undead warrior, to speak now is premature. It begins with your retrieval of the Lordvessel. They failed me, every last one of them. They were strong, but saw not the truth. I am certain that you will prove different.
The Dark Wraiths are a straight up PvP covenant. They are the red phantoms we usually see around, though not every red phantom is a Dark Wraith. For joining, we get the Dark Hand, which is also dropped by the regular Dark Wraith enemies. And if we sacrifice 30 humanity, we get this here. Nice, isn't it?
Farewell.
So Kaathe here just now dropped quite a big lore dump on us. And the progenitor he mentioned may or may not actually be the furtive pygmy briefly mentioned in the intro cinematic. For now though, we've done quite a bit today. I say goodbye again, but I do hope to see you again next time.